Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia. That, of course, is Dinger Dan Harris, and it's you. And we're talking all things baseball. It's a Wednesday morning. We're getting closer and closer to the trade deadline. A few smaller deals happening, some relief pitchers and some pitchers moving around and some things happening. But the big chips have yet to hit the table. And hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours to 72 hours. That's a little too long for me to wait. I don't want to wait that long. I want trades now, Dan. I want more things to talk about. How about you?
There are two things that I think of. One is, as you know, I'm going to visit Mama Harris on Friday. So that's like this weekend is when the trade deadline is. I can't deal with that. I can't have it happen when I'm in New York visiting family. It's going to be terrible. I need them now. And second, Joe, I got a question about this yesterday. And okay. I don't think I had really been thinking about it, but the fact is, like, there are no more waiver. Like, it used to be July 31st was the trade deadline.
Right.
And then you had the extra month to do the waiver. And there were still some, relatively significant deals. That's done. It's July 31st and done this year. So there's going to be a lot of moves right now. I'm very excited. Like, every time there's that, when Turner, unfortunately, obviously, Trey Turner with the COVID. But at first, it was like, trade. Everybody freaks out. It's going to be a fun couple of days, man. But let's go. Let's get this going. We need some jizz.
You're 100% correct, though. That is a big change, and that's why I think everybody feels like this deadline is going to be a little different than what we're accustomed to. And then last year was a very difficult set of circumstances, too, because the 60-game season threw a lot of things off. But one thing that never gets thrown off, today in Shohei. That's right. Every show we've got something on Shohei Ohtani, and today 36 home runs on the season. Hit one yesterday against the Rockies. 14 steals, 36, home runs, 5,000 strikeouts. He's just really good. He's pretty good at baseball. And that's that. Who else is pretty good at baseball, too? Actually, very good. I would say all-star, wonderful player good. Not Hall of Famer good, but a great player. Joey Votto leads the ups today.
First ballot, I agree.
First ballot of very good. Joey Votto crushes a pair of home runs against Chicago. Fernando Tatis Jr. hits 31st on the year for him in a win over the A's. And Eloy Jimenez, a day late, but not a dollar short, a home run, and he dedicated it to a young White Sox fan, a little boy who is battling cancer. Very nice moment there from Eloy. Very proud of my dude. I still am thrown off by the number 74. I still don't like that he wears that number. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. Sometimes I'm a cranky old man, but you know what? I love me some Eloy Jimenez. So some good stuff yesterday. There were a lot of dingers hit yesterday too. Brendan Rodgers, who was a guy we talked about yesterday being a cheap option. Eloy Jimenez was another cheap option on DK. We said keep plugging him in there. He went up $300 whole day over day because of that home run, all the way from 2.5 to 2.8 on DK. But Dan, these were some big dingers yesterday for the boys.
It was a big day yesterday, like a lot of interesting stuff going on. Even last minute grand slams to, Eric Haas to take away the Maeda win. There was a lot to talk about, but yeah, Eloy, and that wasn't just a homer. That was like a big boy homer. That was like a dominant homer, which I love to see. He's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to him being back. Brendan Rodgers. There's Mike Mayer.
Why is he upset about Brendan Rodgers? I don't understand.
So this is wonderful. Okay, this is some of the behind the scenes. Mayer, for whatever reason, is very just like Brendan Rodgers stinks, right? And he texted. We have a text string. You should really be on it with me and Tuma, which is basically like, I'm getting so many questions on Brendan Rodgers. This was the end of last week. Why? Brendan Rodgers stinks. He's not doing anything. I'm not missing anything, right? I was like, right, whatever. I'm in a league with Mayer and Tuma. I then picked up Brendan Rodgers, which made Mayer very upset, and now he's got back-to-back games with a homer. Rodgers, Mayer, sorry, buddy. He's good, and Trevor Story's probably getting dealt. He's going to get regular playing time. So best player ever. So he should be at it. Not a joke. For wherever he is, because he is going to get. But Mayer has some odd vendetta against him. And Votto, Hall of Fame, not Hall of Fame, whatever. It is worth noting just how good Votto has been, because he got off to such a horrible start. Then did he fracture his thumb? I can't remember. He fractured it. He did something. It was out most of May. But you look at April. He had a 771 OPS, barely played in May and didn't do anything. Then he had an 889 OPS in June, and he's got an 1100 OPS in July. He's been really good now for the vast majority of the season, Joe. This is a really resurgent season for a guy who's obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer. So, there you go.
Here's an interesting one before we get to the downs. Brandon, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing here. Brandon says he's got it moves. I go to click it, and then someone else comments.
Yeah, I got it.
He's got Maeda, Plesac, Eovaldi, Luis Castillo, Austin Gomber, Alec Manoa, drop any of these guys, the Sandoval, Cease, Alcantara, so many of them, drop any of them for Carlos Carrasco. Yeah, Austin Gomer. Next.
Yeah. Austin Gomber is pretty easy. I
Yeah.
would also prefer Carrasco to Plesac because I just don't think the strikeout upside is there. I mean, you can do it, but Gomber is clearly the first guy. If you had to move on from Cease, I'd be fine to move on from Cease
He
for
had another
Carrasco.
good
Carrasco's
game
a guy who I
yesterday,
think you
and
target.
Cease has win equity. I don't know if I want to do
No,
that.
no. Gomber is number one. He had a great start yesterday. He's actually been Gomber's been
pretty
kind of ever since he burned everybody with that 2-start week that everybody picked him up for, and then he got
But again, he's
completely
going to be starting
obliterated.
half his games in Colorado still, and I don't care.
That's not close. It's not
always a
close.
liability.
You drop Gomer, but I'm saying rest of season though. I would certainly prefer Carrasco. I prefer him to Cease if I have to make the choice. I prefer him to Plesac if I have to make the choice. So for those guys, it's not a difficult question.
All right, let's get to the downs. The Giants are not open to discussing Joey Bart. We will not discuss it with you, Chicago Cubs. And if you're not going to discuss it, then I don't know how the Giants are adding anything. We talked about Trey Turner. You mentioned earlier about testing positive for COVID. I don't know how he gets onto the field before that happens, but alas, such as Major League Baseball. Also, Christian Yelich, part of a COVID-19 positive test.
Yep.
And Steven Strasburg having season-ending neck surgery. And it's not just the neck surgery, it's the thoracic outlet syndrome. So this morning, of course, I had to get up and get you a list because, I love a list here. I am a big fan of Chris Jericho after all. And we have 30 Major League pitchers known at least to have undergone thoracic outlet syndrome surgery. And here are some of the names. And some of these guys at one point or another were very good pitchers. Phil Hughes, Jaime Garcia, who had a pretty good run before his, Chris Young, Tyson Ross, Chris Carpenter, obviously was never the same guy really afterwards. Yep. Chris Archer, who we told everybody or at least I did. I was saying, try to stay away from this guy going in. The science has not been on your side. Matt Harvey, Carter Capps, Luke Hochevar, who once upon a time was a bright young prospect.
Oh, yeah.
Nathan Carnes, Vince Velasquez, Daniel Bard, Mike Foltynewicz, Nick Tepesh. Again, a lot of guys who had potential, a lot of guys who had moments after the surgery. Never quite the same. Clayton Richard was another one, too, on that list. I remember he had a short stint there with the Padres where he looked like he might be a helpful pitcher. And then, of course, this kind of derailed things. So what is the stock in your mind right now for Steven Strasburg and Keeper Leagues? Because Keeper Dynasty, that's the format we can only talk about him right now. I want out. I'm going to sell for whatever I can get. Next year, the beginning of the year, hope will spring eternal. That's the time to get out from under. People will be optimistic because reports will be good. He'll be throwing the baseball. And then I just want out. I think I'm done.
Yeah. So I think what I'll say is this. You hear thoracic outlet surgery and you probably pretty much think career over, right? I mean, you listed a lot of guys there for the most part, kind of completely derailed their career. Matt Harvey, obviously, is somebody who you and I, think about, who at one point was one of the best pitchers in baseball. He had Tommy John. Now he's pretty much just whatever. He's out there. But I'll say this. There are a long list. There are players who have come back and been good. Mayor, check this for me because I know you're listening. I think Frankie Montas had it at one point in time. And obviously he's become a very fine major league pitcher. Not dominant, but I don't know if he ever was. Josh Beckett had it and was okay afterwards. Kenny Rogers was the guy who had it and then had a lengthy sort of post-career. And I think
Beckett on that list.
I may be wrong.
Two types of thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, which I educated myself. So Dr. Joe is in the house. Forget Dr. Glenn.
We need Dr. Glenn. Dr. Glenn.
No, we don't need Dr. Glenn. Dr. Joe is here. I've got my lab coat and the whole thing. But there's two different kinds. And, they talked about the reason why pitchers have it is because depending on how their body is structurally and neurologically, it's that repetitive motion over and over again and the arm going above the head and all that stuff. And that can, depending on the makeup and composition and physiology of your body, there's the compression that happens. And it would explain a lot of why Steven Strasburg's had so many arm issues and so many issues over the years. So, in a way, it's kind of like, oh, well, it's not a shocking diagnosis at this stage, but it's kind of shocking that it took this long to get there with him with this diagnosis at the same time.
Well, if there are different types, and obviously, who knows what we're talking about. But a guy who I think had it either last year or 2 years, it was Merrill Kelly, who, again, is somebody who is fine right now pitching. So bottom line is this, though, Joe. I mean, look, the guy, injuries have plagued him throughout much of his career. This is a very serious surgery. I would look to try to get out in a dynasty format or a keeper format if I could. With that said, what are you probably, you're probably selling him what, for cents on the dollar at this point, right? You're just like, I just need to rid my hands.
I wonder if you could even, I don't know if you can get a Montas for him, but if you gave me look, that I think might be the ceiling of what you could get.
Yeah,
But if you gave me
I would
two
take that.
young, good pitchers, like a Cole Irvin and something, like I'm just getting out. I'm just
Yeah,
getting out of the business because chances are he also either has a high round attachment in a
yeah,
keeper dynasty format or a keeper league format, rather, excuse me, or he's got a high salary in those.
yeah.
If you're in a dynasty format, I think you would, again, you can't do it now. January, February, when you start to get to your spring training and you get the reports and he's healthy and free, it feels good throwing good. I'm glad he feels good. Now let him feel good on another roster. That's all I'm saying. Couple
Yeah.
stuff from yesterday. Oh, go ahead. No, if you have
No,
to.
you're right. I
mean, it's just
Justin.
because I don't like how many years can you do this, and
Yeah.
it's very difficult, and it's sad to think that we've seen the peak because he'll forever be a guy, even though he's quite accomplished a lot in his career, that never lived up to what he potentially could have, much in the
Oh,
likes of
this
a
is
Dwight
interesting,
Gooden or
by the way.
something
I'm
like
just looking it up now because
that.
I'm like, you're right. The two different types of thoracic
I'm a
outlet.
doctor. I went to medical school this morning
There's
for a good 20 minutes before I
there's
came on the show.
neurogenic and there's vascular, and vascular is a little better. I don't know which one he's having, but vascular has a better rate of return and sort of, great. Good job, Dr. Joe. Well done. I don't know which one Strasburg's having.
I don't
but
know if I
whatever.
should be happy that you reaffirmed what I said or insulted that you had to make sure that I wasn't pulling it out of my rear end.
No, I believed you. I was trying to look up like Merrill Kelly, and then I saw that. Amazing.
Yeah,
Well
and
done.
I didn't know there were two things either.
Yeah,
But this is
fantastic.
again, when you have a bad night's sleep and you're up at 5 a.m. and you start looking at things for the show. This is what you do. You start educating the audience.
I like that you go to bed. You wake up when I'm going to bed. That's basically what
pretty much.
So we're always covered. By the way, here at leading off, there's some
You
one
always
of us
got
is awake
somebody.
at all times.
Somebody's awake to answer your questions. Other stuff from yesterday. A very emotional Kendall Graveman, shocked by getting traded from the M's to the Astros. The Mariners also, Mariners also completed a trade for Tyler Anderson, and MLB extends Trevor Bauer's leave for a third time. Just keeping you boys and girls abreast of the Trevor.
You can drop him. I'm not kidding. Like I know we've talked about Bauer plenty of times. I'm like, well, maybe I am at this, and he has. I think there's a hearing or something. I don't think that is until late August. Like at this point, the Dodgers are probably going to trade for Max Scherzer anyway. Like they're not going to sit around and wait for this. I can't imagine he's pitching again for the rest of the season. You can go ahead and move on.
Jesse wants to know, is Savali worth holding on? He's coming back. Is he coming back if ever they just move to the 60-day? I mean, if you could pick up Carrasco right now off the waiver wire, do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you can.
Especially
you can
after Jared
Savali.
Eichhoff again yesterday.
Jared Eichhoff was fine. Okay. If you keep it under 12 earned runs allowed, you're doing fine. So
is that the handicap?
Okay that's the handicap.
It was 12
like earned
golf.
runs.
I didn't realize it.
It is.
Tuesday standouts, Austin Riley, and only Austin Riley. 2 home runs, career high 6 ribbies, 19 homers for the season. One of Dan's favorite preseason guys.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Montgomery, one of my favorites, who really has, I want to give Jordan Montgomery a hug because I feel like that dude's had a pretty good season and the Yankees have just let him down pretty much. 5 shutout innings, 5 Ks. The ERA is at 3.78. That's very respectable in the American League East, I think. Jordan Montgomery looked good in the preseason. Last a couple of starts have been very good for him. We mentioned Votto's 4th straight game with a dinger, so he's red hot still. Kenta Maeda, 6 innings, 5 Ks. Tigers, very good. Harrison Bader, 3 for 4 with another dinger. Starling Marte up to 22 steals in just 63 games. He's trying to literally run his way out of...
Speaking of that, I have a trivia question for you.
Okay. Dan has a trivia question for me.
Well, we can thank Mayor, who saw it and was like, "Here, let's turn the tables on Marte." On Marte. So, what did you mention was the stat on Marte? What does he have?
22 steals in 63 games this year.
All right. In the last 15 years, there are only 4 players to bat over 300 with more stolen bases than RBI in a season. One of the players did it twice. Here's your hint. One of the players did it twice, both times for the Marlins.
Oh, wow.
Okay. You can think about it while you go ahead.
Is it Luis Castillo?
Luis Castillo is a great guess. Not right though. Not right.
Juan Pierre.
Also another good one. Not correct.
Oh, okay. All right.
Juan Pierre may have been retired over the last 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah.
Is it 15? Really? 15?
I don't know.
That's a long time.
I don't know. I'll look up Juan Pierre in the meantime.
But they played for the Marlins. Okay, I'll keep thinking as I keep.
You keep thinking. I can talk
here.
if you want.
And Eric Haas had a 1 for 4 with a grand slam. Back-to-back days for him. Tuesdays does. in everybody else's mind, but Dan Harris, Jared Eichhoff was a dud. 10 earned runs in just 3 innings, but you knew.
Good by me.
You knew he was going to eat it. Like, you knew Jared Eichhoff was going to have to eat it.
Oh, you knew that, right? You were like, look, man,
it's like, we got 8 games this week. Yeah.
Give us 3 innings. We don't care how many runs you give up. We know it's fine.
I mean, there's the pep talk. Jared, we know. Yeah. We know you're an automatic L today. Just try to get
under
3.
12. Keep it under 12. Don't embarrass us. Don't make us use a position player. You're fine.
Get to 4. We'll take you out for Pizza Hut afterward, maybe. I don't know. Brian Hayes, 0 for 4 with 2 Ks. Now batting .244. So disappointing season for him. Not having a good month either. But he's still cheap on the DK side of things in FanDuel. Yep. So I'm still going to, I say, keep plugging away. Always plug away with the good player. He's just going through a thing right now. Shane McClanahan, velocity's down for a 3rd straight start. Could be tiring. I think it's very possible. Any other thoughts on the duds or the studs?
Yeah, here I'll talk about a couple of guys so you can think about the trivia question. Try to get it. I will say, let's see. I'll mention that I think even though Kenta Maeda has done this basically only against the Tigers because he just keeps facing them every single time, I kind of think Kenta Maeda is fully back because everything he's doing looks very Kenta Maeda-ish. The strikeouts are there. The movement on his pitches is there. The control is pretty much back. So I'm almost buying Kenta Maeda at preseason prices, other than the fact that the win equity is not going to be there. Eric Haas is just kind of a top 10 catcher right now. I know the batting average is going to hurt you, but who cares if he's just going to slam nonstop homers, which he is doing. So especially when he has a decent week in terms of matchups, that's where you got to go. And Harrison Bader, I don't want to buy into Harrison Bader because he's Harrison Bader, but I did see something where he had talked about the fact that he's seeing the ball clearly. He mentioned some sort of thing he had with his eyes in recent years where things were a little blurry and that he's seeing things much more clearly. Look, if you give me some sort of narrative, even if I don't know what the support is for it, I will buy into it. I'll be like, great, I've got a reason. So Bader is a guy who I picked up in the league with Mayer, as you know, that he's got just some power and speed, and there's really nothing he's doing bad. He's hitting for batting average. His strikeout rate is way down. He's a guy who I think can provide value pretty much rest of the season. You know, his defense will always keep him in the lineup. So Bader is a guy who, if he is still out there in your league, and he is still out there in a lot of leagues because he's Harrison Bader, I would go get him because I really do think that this is a guy who can provide value rest of the season.
Any port in a storm, especially this time of year where you got healthy guys out there that you're trying to do. I want the answer because now I need it now because now I can't rack my brain anymore. I'm trying to think of who could have had more stolen bases than RBI.
All right, hold on. I'm going to try to do this. Let me see if I can do it.
Okay.
Yes, I balled it up.
Oh, I should have known that.
Jesse Canino. Oh, I did that, by the way. Yay. I don't know. Do you remove them? Is that how do you?
Yes, you have to click it again to get rid of it.
Okay. Here we
Jesse,
go.
get out.
Bye, Jesse.
Okay, there you go.
Jesse
Bye,
Canino.
Jesse.
Good job. D. Gordon did it twice in 2015, 60 stolen bases and 33 RBI. That's a little bit. And then in 2017, and by the way, it's D. Strange Gordon now, as we can admit. 2017, 58 stolen bases and 46 RBI. Starling Marte has also done it in the past with the Pirates in 2016, 47 stolen bases.
Yeah, it's got to be a leadoff
RBI.
hitter. Like it's always
Ben Revere. Remember Ben Revere?
I do. Oh man, Ben Revere. Oh,
I did not remember Ben Revere having that much. He had 49 stolen bases and 28 RBI in 2014.
Yeah, but that was like his one shining moment, and then everybody,
And this is a little blast from the past. So one time an elite player went to the Yankees, basically went on a big contract, did absolutely nothing, was injured for the majority of the contract from the Red Sox. Jacoby Ellsbury. 70 stolen bases, 60 RBI in 2009. 70. Thank you to Mayer, always there with the great trivia. And that's what I said. He's like, you want to turn the tables on Joe tomorrow and do it? There we go. Wonky Penguin.
Mayer actually gave me a trivia question.
Gillingham.
For you, as well.
Mayer.
He warned me trivia was coming with you, so he gave me one right back at you. Who has the most stolen bases in a season where they had more stolen bases than RBI?
That's literally the question that we were just talking about, Joe.
No. In a single season, the most ever. Listen.
Oh, the most.
Yeah. Like, in other words, the most stolen bases to the least amount of RBI.
Like, what's the biggest delta between them? Oh, geez. Gosh.
This shouldn't be too hard. Don't overthink it.
Billy Hamilton?
No.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Because Billy Hamilton's not stealing 100 bases. You got to think further back in baseball than Billy Hamilton.
It's not Ricky, is it? I mean,
it is Ricky.
All right. Ricky. Well, I guess he had 100 and what?
130 stolen bases. In 1982, which was that banner year for him, and then 51 RBI that year for the A's.
All right. I like
the
this
old
one.
Billy Martin A's. If
by the way,
serves.
can we? I just want to ask Willie Mays Hayes. I just want to ask what you guys think. So my son is a giant baseball fan, as you guys probably know from listening to this. I pretty desperately want to show him Major League just because I think that he would love the baseball parts, but it's rated R. It's got a lot of bad words. It's pretty raunchy. In the comments, please let me know, yay or nay.
How old
Can
is
I
he?
let my 8-year-old son watch Major League, the original, not Major League 2 or Major League Back to the Minors? I want to know. Also, I will say that Wonky Penguin, originally called D. Gordon, apparently was first before even Jesse. So way to go, Wonky Penguin, of course, always there. Sorry, go ahead.
My thing is, it's your duty as a dad to show them movies that are slightly inappropriate. That's part
what
of
I
your
kind of
duties.
think.
The only R-rated comic. See, you know what I did is, this is what you do. You tape it off TV so they can see the edited version because they don't really need the curses.
Dude, you're absolutely right. Strike this guy out.
You don't need that part.
Right? I have tried though. It used to be on network TV all the time. I haven't seen it
on MLB Network. They will run it in the wintertime.
I gotta wait. I guess that's what my wife has always said.
But then he'll say, instead of that, he'll say, "Strike this gosh darn bozo out." Or
to be honest, I could let my daughter see because I think my daughter would understand. You can't say things like this anymore, and on the field and stuff like that. But my son is gonna watch it, and he saw the real version. He would start dropping F-bombs during.
See, my daughters won't do it, and they've seen movies that have language. The only R-rated comedy I let my daughter see because they really wanted to see it was the Blues Brothers, and they thought it was hilarious. They loved it. They loved the Blues Brothers. They did. They loved the Blues. They think the scene in the dining room between Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. They thought that was the funniest thing they'd ever seen.
I think the fact that you're young daughters and you're like, okay, we're gonna watch the Blues Brothers, pretty much describes Joey P.
Well, but they knew some of the musical people, and actually one of them for their dance recital. One of the songs was from the Blues Brothers actually, and they were like they knew the song, and that's how I told them about it, and they like Saturday Night Live quite a bit, and that's obviously where it all goes from there. News and notes. Here we go. Yep. Tyler Anderson, we mentioned, traded to the Phillies there.
Then traded to the Mariners.
Right?
Because that fell through.
Right, because that fell all through. John Morosi of MLB.com reports the Giants have indeed spoken about Chris Bryant, but again, if you're not going to give up Joey Bart, what's the point? Aaron Judge reinstated from COVID. Victor Robles removed from the game with tightness in his lower side, but nobody cares. Mitch Garver left after hit by a pitch. X-rays negative. We just got Mitch Garver back. Please, can we have nice things?
He had a grand slam yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
Stay in there.
Clayton Kershaw threw a 3-inning sim game, so keep an eye on that. Mookie Betts could return Sunday when eligible. Cody Bellinger hamstring returned to the lineup. Franmil returned to the lineup 0 for 4, 3 Ks. Doesn't look healthy to me. That's why I benched him this week, and I really struggled because I'm in the playoffs now, and I was like, what do I do? But I benched him. Only 5 games this week, and the back issues, no good. And the Reds acquired Luis Cessa, Justin Wilson from the Yankees, so they're making roster 40-man space, obviously. Also, it's a great moment. The Cracker Jacks surpassed 600 home runs.
Woo!
As a group, well done. Peanuts and Cracker Jacks, excellent. Fired up, had Harper. Derek from Texas.
Wait, you get credit for an inside the park home run like Harper?
Home run's a home run, absolutely. Fine. Home run's a home. As long as it's not a triple and an error, yes. If it says home run, it's a home run. Some people might argue you get 2 for that. Lawnmower Man 4.4 also got 2 from Votto, up to 13. 8 different Cracker Jacks got credit with a home run with an inside the park from Harper yesterday. And also, of course, speaking of the Lawnmower 4.4, although they're calling home runs, they're not shaving all the hair on your body. Only the Lawnmower 4.0 is, so go to manscaped.com, get the longest battery life in the history of trimmers, the 4K LED light, the 1 through 4 guard lengths, all of the skin-safe technology, and of course, it can all be yours for 20% off and free shipping. Go to manscaped.com. Use that code leading off. Your balls will thank you. Again, that code leading off, of course. Still at the top of the leaderboards, the same. Randy, D. Gordon Liddy, myself, 19, 19, and 18. So we'll see there. Wonky Penguin still stuck on 17. Dan Harris, you did not get a dinger yesterday, but so you are still in the...
I'm fine.
Whatever.
I'm like Jared Eichhoff. I got a handicap.
Yeah, I was like, we should just...
by the way,
Jared Eichhoff fishing again.
Keep going with the home runs. Before we get to DFS,
that's it.
A couple people have been asking about, look, there were trades. We should talk about the impact of the trade, other than the fact that what the F, Mariners, are you trading away Kendall Graveman in the middle of this? To the team in your division and playing. So very quickly, because we've had it. Ryan Presley is still going to be the closer. He gave a couple runs yesterday, even though it wasn't a save situation. You can probably drop Graveman. Would I be absolutely shocked if Graveman factors into the closing mix in Houston and gets a couple of saves if Presley stumbles? No, but for the most part, I think you can drop Graveman. For the Mariners, I have no idea what the Seattle Mariners are doing. And again, you mentioned they traded for Tyler Anderson right after that deal. They're buyers and they're sellers. I guess it's going to be Paul Sewald. I guess for now. I don't know if he'll get dealt as well, but he'd probably be the guy who I'd be looking to pick up in Seattle. So just want to make it clear because, there's a fantasy impact to it. So obviously, that's what I would do. And I think I would probably drop Graveman.
My other what the F moment was I looked up yesterday and Kyle Seager had 20 home runs. And I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah, right? Seager's batting average has been terrible this year, but he has consistently hit for power. Again, and Mitch Haniger, again, we talked about, has 25 or whatever. Like that's not surprising.
Offense. It was Seager imagine at 20, and I saw, I was like, 20? Really? He's up to 20?
No, Seager hits for power. Can you imagine if Jared Kelenic could do anything? He went 2 for 4 yesterday, by the way. I think Tumar Mayer wanted me to talk about him because he's been so bad, but he went 2 for 4 yesterday, so it didn't feel like a good time to talk about how bad he's been. He's in his head though, man. I mean, look, that kid. I feel bad.
You know what
he
needs? He needs a sweatshirt, a Jared Kelenic sweatshirt. That's what he needs. He needs to go get a sweatshirt and a hat from his line of clothing. And you know what? This is why when you're a young player, like you shouldn't do things like this. You shouldn't have a clothing line because, like, what if you turn out to be a bust prospect? Like, there's no Todd Van Poppel line of a workout gear available. Like it doesn't happen.
I personally have plenty of Todd Van.
Yeah, I've got a beer cozy with Brian Taylor's jersey number on it from the Yankees back in the day. I mean, come on, it's like, and if you know who those two are, then you're definitely a fan of leading off. I just want to put that out there. All right, 10 game slate tonight. Cash game arms, Zach Wheeler 10-6, 10-3 on DK. Lucas Giolito, I think, is the best value at the board on cash tonight. 9-2, 9-8. He's got a good matchup too against the Royals. Walker Buehler is more expensive. He is 11-5 on FanDuel and 10-5 on DK. I'm going with Gio in the cash. How about you tonight of those arms? Wheeler hasn't been great last couple starts.
Yeah, I'm not all that worried about Wheeler, but I agree with you that Giolito is certainly the best bet against the Royals, who, occasionally, have a big offensive explosion. But I think this is a game that the win equity is right there. He's my favorite, certainly, on the slate.
Tyler Mahle, 7.3 on FanDuel, 10.2 on DK. What? Huh? Again, I don't know what DraftKings is doing there. They were at the Tiki Bar way too much this past weekend.
I know.
Eloy Jimenez is 2.8, and Tyler Mahle's 10.2. I just don't want to live anymore. Tanner Houck is 7.2, though, as a secondary arm. Now, this game is not on the FanDuel main slate. It's on the DK main slate.
No, it's on the FanDuel main slate.
Not according to what I saw this morning.
All right. So I thought I saw it on the main slate. Houck versus Mats.
Unless it's the all day you're playing and not the main.
No, I'm looking at the main slate.
Oh, I see an updated main slate now on Fantasy Labs. I told you I was up at 5 o'clock this morning.
Nothing good happens at 5
I was up before baseball games were still ending when I was up this morning. So that's that.
We covered 24 hours here. Don't worry about it.
Max Fried versus Tylor, as I like to call him, McGill.
My man.
Any joy in this Mudville? You want to take a swing at any of these two tonight?
I really don't actually. I really have no interest in looking at this game. McGill is a guy who I like, but I'm always waiting for the shoe to drop, and I'm like, whatever.
I like his attitude. He's very laissez-faire out there.
Yeah, he's great. I'm not kidding. He's like the perfect addition right now for this team because he's just like, I'm fine, whatever, I'll go out there, no big deal.
If you're an SNL person, you know that character Pete Davidson plays where he goes,
sure.
Okay, you're gonna save the world. Okay, cool. He's that character.
He's awesome. I love it. Yeah. And Fried, look, the Mets haven't really been hitting of late, but they, when you look at their lineup, they have a strong lineup, and it's just a matter of time before eventually one day they explode against the lefty. You've got Alonso, you've got JD Davis, so I'm just avoiding both pitchers.
All right, Miami and Baltimore is going to have more runs than you think. That's the sneaky game stack of the day. Look, the White Sox are just a good chalk. They're going against Bubala. They got, going against the lefty with that lineup now, especially with Eloy back and especially with Abreu in there. I don't know. Go with the White Sox. Maybe just play FanDuel because I don't like any of the secondary arms today. I can't tell you. Honestly, it's just, it's gross. Brendan Rodgers still cheap on FanDuel, 2.4. Other FanDuel values, best player ever. Brendan Marsh, 2.3. Cole Calhoun, 2.5. Gio Urshela, 2.6. Brian Hayes, I know he's been bad, but 2.7's a value. Austin Hayes also. Everyone named Hayes I like. 2.5. Willie Mays Hayes. It's a major league theme.
Yes.
Austin Hayes on DK, also cheap, 2.9. Gleyber Torres, 3.5. Calhoun is at 3.1, and Eloy Jimenez 2.8. And I'm going to go with Eloy Jimenez tonight for my home run call. I want him back-to-back. He feels good. He's hitting big-time home runs. He's got a big smile on his face. And he's going against the Bobola tonight. So that's where I'm going. And I know you, and I knew for sure, because this is one of the guys in my mix, and I know if I don't pick it, you're going to the same way. You and I are always on the same page. Who's your home run call tonight?
I will go with JD Martinez going up against Steven Matz, who occasionally bumps out a great start, but I don't think so today against the Red Sox. I will go with JD Martinez.
Nah, bro. And Steven Matz in Fenway? No, thank you. And you know what's so tough too? If you keep looking at these DFS nights, and I realize the problem is Kershaw, Scherzer, DeGrom. Yeah. None of these guys are pitching. Like there's no solace in cash right now. Like it is tough. You have to go with the guys on the White Sox or the guys on the Brewers, and even that's no good anymore because Freddie Peralta's only allowed to throw 10 pitches. So anyway, speaking of pitchers who are hurt, don't forget we got a Shane Bieber jersey. Just a couple days left. Go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. Leave your review of the show. Once again, you got a few days left to get involved in this. Screenshot that. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Fantasy Pros MLB. You get a 3x entry if you do. And then go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest to get involved with that. Also, if you can't get enough Joey P, and I know you can't, today on Stages at 12:30, Yates and I will be talking some football on Discord. And I know a lot of you are in Discord already. So you can go over there and hang out. We're going to have a little live chat, little talky, me and Yates with the football. Dan Harris. Final thoughts.
I will say that if anybody is planning to go to the Metropolitans game against the Reds on Saturday night, it is looking likely that I will be there with my family. If you want to come by and say hello, hit me up on Discord. Again, just message either in the Home Run channel or the Baseball Podcast channel, and you're going to be there. Message me. I will meet up with you. We'll take a snapshot. We'll put it up in Discord so everybody knows. But again, probably going to the Mets game with the fam on Saturday night to reward my son for not punching anybody for the last 2 weeks at camp. So that's how we work here in the Harris household.
So rewarding the kid for not punching anybody, and now 2 weeks later you want to show him Major League.
Correct, exactly. Okay. This is my dilemma. This is why I don't win Father of the Year.
You tape it off TV, you will enjoy it less. He won't know the difference.
Yes.
Everybody's miserable.
Everything's fine.
That's life is a big compromise. All right, that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Dan Harris, I'm Joe Pisapia. We'll see you next time, kids.